company has been named, you ready for it? Business of the Year by the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. Please welcome to our show, Lucy Cryan. Welcome to the show, Lucy.
Thank you. I'm glad
wow,
to be here.
that's a pretty big title. Business of the Year. Wow.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Well, folks, I want you to know that they call it NAPS, but NAPPS, and the people who are professional pet sitters and are members of that group, they're not taking a lot of cat naps. They work very hard. They're licensed, they're insured, they're bonded. They are continually taking courses to learn how to be better at business, better with pet care. And so every year they have this big contest, and you have to submit this lengthy application. Judges consider all of them. And at the very end, they said, you know what? Lucy Cryan, she's the one. She's the one. So when you found out that your company, Cryan Enterprises, was named to be the top dog, if you will, of the NAPS pet sitting world, did you faint? Did you cry? Did you have a shot of ever? How was your response?
I didn't faint. I didn't cry. I told my husband, and we were both driving in the car because it came on my phone while I was in the car. I wasn't driving.
So. Oh, that's good.
But we both gave a high five as we were driving down the street. And then I promptly told a few of my clients, some of the ones that were nice enough to recommend me for the award. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
And we got a shout out to Kevin. That's your husband, right?
Correct.
Because he likes to hear probably his name on the air. You actually are on the longest running pet podcast on the planet.
Wow.
And humbly, while you were winning Business of the Year, we found out last week that Oh Behave with my producer, Mark Winter, has been named the best pet podcast of the year.
Wow. Congratulations. That's pretty cool.
And I didn't have a husband named Kevin while driving to find out that news, but we're kind of in parallel universes.
Right.
So Cryan Enterprises, Cryan. You're in Ohio.
Yeah. I am.
That doesn't have a cat or dog name in it, because you do more than just pets. Tell us a little bit about what Cryan Enterprises is all about.
Well, actually, I started as concierge services primarily. I mean, that was really what I had planned to do after I retired from my previous life in higher ed. And a couple of my clients asked if I would take care of their pets as part of my concierge services. And I said yes. And then, of course, you know how that spreads. They told friends who started contacting me. And of course, I love it, because who doesn't love playing with pets and hanging out with other people's pets? And it just kind of took off. So, it started out as a small piece, but now it's about 80% of my business, probably. Wow. Yeah.
And you started your business after retiring from, is it Otterbein University in Westerville, Ohio.
Correct.
What did you do there on campus?
So I was there for so long. I had multiple positions.
Okay.
But the longest position, I worked in the equine science department for 18 years. So I started as a riding instructor and coach back in 1994, and then became the director. And then we moved to a new facility. And then I think I had another title change. I don't remember what it is exactly. And then I had to take some medical time off. And after that, I transferred over to on-campus fundraising. And then part of that was events. And then ended up as a business manager for a new facility that they use in partnership with the community, actually. So that's where I finished before.
You know what I like, though? We sometimes think we're going to script our lives, right, Lucy?
Oh, not possible.
And then you get a curve. You got many curves. But you landed with your feet right in the saddle, right in the stirrups, right?
I think I did pretty well. Yeah, thanks.
And I know I want you to talk a little bit about it, because you would think you've hit some pretty big challenges medically and then launching Cryan Enterprises. You launched it in January of 2020, correct?
Yes. Worst time possible.
Let's talk about
Absolutely.
COVID. So, I mean, you're all ready to go. You're launching it, and then all of a sudden the world shuts down.
Right. And there was a little bit of a hint that something might happen, but I don't think anybody knew what that was going to be like. So, yeah, my timing wasn't so great, but I actually got I don't know if it's a little lucky. A couple months in, I got a gig as part of my concierge or personal assistant, and I was a personal assistant to a contractor.
Oh.
So that held me for a few, because she kept me pretty busy. And then, at some point, she really needed help with a really large project. And then, that was wrapping up, and I had other pieces were starting to pick up. So I got pretty lucky.
Yeah.
But I also, when I retired, I planned for worst case scenario, because
That's good. That's a good tip.
Right. You can't leave a good job for a new business just not knowing. So I knew if I didn't make it in the first year, I could get back in the regular workforce, or, we could even be fine. My husband has not retired yet, so I had that padding as well. So it was okay, but it was not what I planned. It wasn't ideal to try to launch a business during COVID. And obviously I hadn't even started the pet part, but nobody was going anywhere. Nobody needed any pets walks during COVID. They were home. So,
and prior to that, people need to know the name Lucy Cryan, because you were a pretty amazing equestrian. Tell us, it's okay to say something cool about what you've done, because you've done really major competitions on horses. So what would be like a pinnacle?
Well, pinnacle. I've ridden most of my life until, a few years back. And I've ridden all different styles of riding and competing throughout the years, starting when I was a young child, but really got involved in dressage probably in the late 80s. Had a wonderful coach in Michigan. I lived in Michigan at the time, and she really got me hooked. And so I really started doing the dressage thing. I had a off the track thoroughbred, a former racehorse. I didn't have a fancy horse. She didn't cost a lot of money. In fact, she cost less than $1,000.
What was her name? What's her name?
Her name was Sky, or Sky's Weekend. But people used to laugh because my name's Lucy and her name's Sky. And we all know a famous song that Lucy and so that was kind of cute. But anyway, I competed with her for many years. And when she was ready for a break is when I started my own human family. So I then, after I had kids, I got right back into it with another horse after I retired her. And through United States Dressage Federation, I have a bronze and a silver medal, which basically you have to, it's pretty cool. You have to score certain levels, and you turn in your scores from judges in order to get the medals. So
that's nice. What horse was that?
So Sky, I achieved most of the scores with Sky, and then I bought another horse. His name was Poet, and I finished my scores with Poet. So, but again, that's been a long time ago. And then after I never got my gold. Gold is Grand Prix level. Poet was not suitable. And I already had a family at that point, and I continued to train and ride and had some younger prospects, younger horses. And then, of course, I was coaching teams and working with my students.
Well, so, I like that. But
it was a part of it.
So for the average person like me that knows more about cats and dogs than horses, how would you say, what is dressage for us mere mortals that don't ride on a saddle?
The classic, most people have heard of the Lipizzan stallions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's dressage. Now, that is a different level than what most of us do in competition. They do more performance art. Mm-hmm. So they're doing things that are a little beyond. Other people describe it as ballet, horse ballet. So, basically it's very time consuming, because you train and you have to basically be in control of every step of your horse. Everything, every movement they do, every step they make, you're trying to improve or to do the next thing. And you're judged on every movement or every change of a transition. It's pretty intense. It's kind of I don't know. It takes a perfectionist, I think.
Well,
Like
there's your
to do
personality.
Yeah, right. So, I also did some jumping, I did some eventing, and those things are fun. And you have to be pretty perfect for that too. But it's a little different. There's a different type of concentration. So, but I loved it.
Well, I just put this together. I think you reached for the sky and you were poetry in motion with those two horses.
Oh, look at that. You got them both.